Ishmael, how are you? It's Antonia Harman, and we're doing a little YouTube with the new top of the pops, Ismael Perez. He is, well, the most famous man in spirituality at the moment. I've managed to get him on my channel. So, welcome and thank you for being here.
You're welcome, Antonia. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you. So, we were just starting by discussing the I dissolve traumas, and what Ishmael's written this incredible book. If anyone hasn't got it yet, it's brilliant. It's very interesting. It's sort of the history of what's going on in the world and what's going to be going on going forward. So it's been a huge hit, and he's everywhere in the spiritual channel. So he talks about basically the waking up of angels and the waking up of people becoming their God selves. Which I think God with a small g, isn't it? Yeah, I think we are, and I've always maintained that we're all gods and goddesses who've got no idea what we truly are and the abilities. And I've spent the last 20 years awakening abilities. So with that in mind, we were going to do a little healing. So I'm going to do this on Ishmael, but if anyone else is watching this, you can join in and you can get the benefits of the healing too, just by watching it and following along. So what we're going to do is dissolve a trauma. So something which is very severe. So when you think about it, it makes you feel very upset. And so like a 9 or a 10 or an 8 out of 10 severity, and then you sort of you think about it, you grade it, and I dissolve the resonance with it, and then it just becomes empty of emotion. The Buddhists call it non-attachment. I call it fast track forgiveness, but intrinsically you're cool with it. And then that's what I do also for diseases. I have a textbook that tells you the emotional reasons behind diseases. I dissolve that resonance, and diseases fall out of people really quickly. So what's your issue you'd like us to work on, please, today?
When I was a child, about 7 or 8 years old, I've experienced something that that was very traumatizing. I witnessed the beating of my mother by my grandfather, her dad, and he beat her brutally for a long time with the belt, to the point where her face was swollen, blood everywhere. Her body was just, bruises everywhere, scars. She was bleeding all around. I think he even broke a few bones. And so I just remember my aunts holding me back because I felt like I needed to go in there and help her. And they're like, no, he's just going to hit you. Don't. He's just going to hit you. He's drunk. I come from a family where my grandfather was just not a good man. And well, he changed later in life. But, the whole point is that I witnessed this. And I think that subconsciously that incident stayed with me for many, many years. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I want to forgive him. Now that he passed away 3 years ago, I would love to forgive him. And yeah, let's do that. So I did forgive him, but I want to just make sure that it's completely out of my system. In other
I
words.
can feel it when you're you're speaking about it passionately, and I can feel the energy and the upset and the trauma still within. So what would you say that was out of a 10 grade wise? Like a
Oh,
9 or 10?
that was like a 9 or 10. Like no kid wants to see their mother brutally beaten in front of
No,
them.
but now it feels, when you talk about it now, does it still feel
Talk
like a 9?
about it. Oh, I did work on that before in forgiving him when I was, trying to clear all my wounds before coming into the scene. I needed to be, fully cleared. But I always say right now it's more like a 4-3. It doesn't really bother me like it used to for many years. Just, the memories, the flashes that I would get even growing up. So I would say it's not really bothering as much, but I just want to make sure that it is completely gone.
Okay.
Like I just don't ever
We
think
wanted
about
to
that.
get you to a neutral point. So when you can talk about it, you don't feel anything, you just feel at peace with the situation, right? That's what we can do. And anyone else who's following along at home, think of a similar situation, and I'll dissolve the resonance with it for you too. So Ishmael and everyone at home, please just close your eyes, think about the situation, allow yourself to feel it as much as possible, and I'll dissolve the resonance. Okay. Okay. How's that feeling now?
Very serene, very relaxed, very like very cleared, very cleared.
It should
Yeah.
be empty, so it should just be you can see the facts of the situation, but it no longer triggers you, it no longer elicits emotions.
Yeah, like now I could think about it and it doesn't like, you know, enrage me or
Nothing
like it
happens.
used.
It
Yes,
should be
exactly.
nothing. You want no reaction to it at all, because any reaction is like it's animated and it's this pain. It should just be peace or just emptiness, really.
Yeah, that's what I feel, emptiness and peace.
Yeah. See?
Like
We're doing this work.
the and I also wanted to say may his soul rest in peace because my grandfather did pass away a few years ago, very severely. He had cancer, and the cancer just ate him up internally to the point where all his organs were disrupting. So yeah, he all that pain that he ever inflicted on all his daughters, not just my mother. My mother was one out of 10 children, and they're all women. I think the karma caught up to him because in the last week of his death, he was just in severe pain, intense, severe pain, just bleeding out of everywhere. When his organs erupted, he was bleeding out of his mouth, his eyes, his ears, blood was coming out of there. So he died, yeah, with his organs just erupting and blood flowing through him. And eventually he just choked on his own blood.
Well, cancer's got a lot to do with grief. So, and suppressed emotions. So I think disease is basically your emotions condensed. So it goes from a gas to a liquid to a solid. So gas-based disease is a thought-based disease. When you hang around somebody who's angry or upset, you can feel it immediately. It's in the air. And then so that's a thought-based disease, a gas-based disease. Then you've got a liquid-based disease. And to get a liquid-based disease, if you put enough gas into a finite container, it eventually becomes a liquid. And a liquid-based disease is like a cyst or chronic pain. It moves around and flows like a liquid. Or something like a cancer is solid, it's hard as a rock, and it's just those thoughts condensed, condensed, condensed. And then if you dissolve that, then you can fix any disease that you want. Plus, it's mastery of everything. If you can do mastery of solid, liquid, gas, you can walk on water because solid water is ice. So if you get that, you can do that. And then you can also do instant manifestation. You can do all the miracles if you get mastery of solid, liquid, gas. That's where I'm going. That's what I'm playing with.
That is so true.
It works. And and everything that exists goes through those stages. Think about my pen, for example. Someone thought about, okay, we're going to make this pen, the thoughts being a gas, and then they designed it on a liquid screen or with a pen and paper, and then it made it into a physical thing. Everything goes from a gas to a liquid to a solid, including,
Yeah, that kind of corresponds with, mind being the gas, right?
yeah.
Um, action being the liquid, and of course, the outcome being the solid. Makes perfect sense. That's the way universes precipitate into existence. It all starts with a thought. It's a thought being projected by one of the many cosmic beings. So it's a thought projection, right? And the projection eventually consolidates and becomes physical form.
Yeah. It's entire creation. If you think of even the Bible story about how the earth was created, it starts with the word, the thoughts, the words.
Exactly.
Right. I do have some questions for you. So,
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been asked a few things by people. So when do you think we'll see the loved ones that have passed over, and will we recognize them? And will we meet them?
As the veil lifts, because currently right now as a collective, we are in the fourth dimension. We are no longer in the third. We are in the fourth. And some of us, those that are raising their consciousness through meditation, through spiritual devotion, are actually tapping into a fifth dimensional reality already, because the grid system, the ley lines that hold the structure of the fifth dimensional reality is already in place. And we, the star seeds, the celestials that volunteered, the wanderers who came to this earth, were instrumental in that. So I would say that the moment we shift as a collective into the fifth dimension, all of our loved ones that had recently passed away within the last few years to 10 are going to already be there, waiting for us in the new earth.
Wow, that's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, how do you see sickness and diseases? Is it a natural part of life on Earth, or is it something we're meant to exist without?
Oh, we could exist without that. Yeah, before we were downgraded by Enki, who is the negative Anunnaki, diseases and illnesses didn't exist. Our ancestors were never ill. In fact, our ancestors used to live forever. The original Adam was an immortal being. As I explained in my book, we were, light beings. And through a process of involution, which is the opposite of evolution, it's an involutionary process, we became denser and denser. And then, of course, our lifespan started decreasing. So our ancestors never had to experience that. So that's all going to be reversed now with the activation of our dormant DNA. Illnesses and disease will be no more.
So it's interesting. I was just watching you just did a meditation just a few moments ago, and you were talking about chakras. And you were talking about your base, your root chakra, and connecting that to the earth. I've done away with mine. I don't have chakras or meridians anymore. Basically, the casing for them, I think that they're fungal pathways, and I still have the energy of them, but it's working holistically as one. And I've got rid. It feels like they're shackles. They are prison cells, the meridians and the chakras. And I've had my meridians taken by a number of my students who are Chinese doctors, and I don't have meridians anymore. So, what do you think of that?
I think that's where we're all heading, because the reason the chakras are separated through the different colors as representing the different colors of the rainbow is because they're different energy levels of energy of consciousness, rather, that are meant to collapse into one white light. It's similar to the way where we see the light going through the glass, the prism, and then it reflects into the different colors. That's what the chakras are. We are reflecting the different colors in our physical, or in our denser form. But as we ascend, those colors turn back to the white light as we activate the light body. So that is very true. The whole purpose of us undergoing this multidimensional integration, which is what I've been talking about, is the collapsing of all 12 chakras into just one pure white light. And that's how we aligned every energy center, every level of consciousness, because even our outer chakras connect us to the consciousness field of our planetary sphere, of our star, of our constellation, of our galaxy and universe. So when we do that, we anchor and integrate every aspect of ourselves that exists on every level of reality. And that is when when we no longer have chakras, we just become one pure white light.
Yeah, I call it a gold. I was what was I calling it? A great ball of fire. So maybe that was the wording that I had. I mean, I like the song, but great ball of fire. And then also the angel wings started to unravel. So they've got. I think everyone's most the light workers, the wanderers have got angel wings, and mine were tied and tarred, and they've started to open up now. Once I've released the chakras and the meridians, and then we're going to the next sort of 5D style of healing, which is what I do.
That's similar to the work that I do as well.
Yeah.
They're the same.
Yeah, well, there's lots in common between us, I think. Okay. So I've got a question. Which one shall I do? Okay. Why did Jesus descend to earth, performing miracles, then disappear again without teaching us how to all heal at his level? Why do you do that?
He descended to the earth because he was completing his 7 cosmic or universal bestowal in order to become full sovereign and the master son of his creation. He had to undergo 7 bestowals, and so the last one he underwent was what happened 2,000 years ago. Now he did teach these techniques to his apostles, and because he was part of a benevolent secret society known as the Community of Conrad, or the Essenes. And within that community that was isolated from the rest of the Roman world, he taught alchemy, he taught magic, he taught how to bend spoons, he taught astrology, he taught how to master reality and how to bend reality with your mind. And that became known as the Gnostic interpretation of his inner teachings. However, with the canonization and the reorganization of the Roman Empire under the guise of the Catholic Church, that knowledge was suppressed. And of course, they burnt every record. They, sacrificed every Gnostic who was his original followers. All the Gnostics were the real followers of Jesus, the ones that were the alchemists, the magicians, the wizards, and they were all, well, some of them escaped, but for the most part, most of them were killed or murdered by the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
And we see that continue throughout the Dark Ages. Anyone that showed signs of wizard powers or alchemist abilities or supernatural talents were extreme threats to the Catholic Church, and therefore they were eliminated. And so that's why for centuries, actually for millenniums, many of the surviving Gnostics had to actually go into the underground in refuge to protect the knowledge and to protect themselves, from the destruction of the Catholic Church, who was out to destroy anybody that possessed these abilities. But now the times have reversed. Now we are bringing that back to the earth.
Do you think it's still dangerous now to be bringing these energies in, or do you think we're past that?
We're way past that. Yeah. The Catholic Church, which is the core of the old guard, the core of the Luciferian Brotherhood, is no longer in power. We are the new power. You are, me, and everyone out there like us. And we are going to be the new elite, by the way. But of course, we're going to use our powers for good.
Well, it's interesting. They used to, in the olden days, they used to have the person who was the most enlightened used to be the one who was the king. And hopefully it's going to go back to that nowadays.
Yes, that's how it was in olden days, and that's how it shall be upon the restoration of a new golden age. The wisest among us are going to be the most powerful. When we all genetically mutate, well, in other words, when our dormant DNA comes online, not everybody's going to reach the same level of power, but the oldest of souls are going to be the most powerful ones, and they are the ones that are going to be at the core of the 144,000 and the starseed nations as the new guardians of Earth. And then from this Earth, we're going to also oversee the development and evolution of many universes. In other words, we're going to be the new head honchos. All the extraterrestrials, all the galactic confederations are going to be under us at that point.
Do you know much about Lord Ashtar? He rescued me a while ago. I got attacked. I don't know. I'll tell you this story and tell me if you know anything more about it. So a while ago, I was in my house and there was stomping in my house. Everything was locked, but it was the middle of the night and there was stomping in my house. And I had my cat was hissing and I was like, there's something bad in here. I thought there was a home invasion or something. It was proper stomping. And then suddenly there was a white light that came at my window and blocked out the entire window. And then suddenly there was a scuffle and there was stamps and you could hear a fight and like smashing against the walls. And lights went on because I've got lights where you walk past them and they go on so you don't trip up to go to the loo in the middle of the night. So those lights all went on. The bathroom light went on, downstairs light went on. Things got kicked around the house. There was at least, and I could hear boots stomping. And there was definitely a fight. There was at least 5 of them. And I spoke to one of my psychics and she told me it was Lord Ashtar. Any more on that? What do you think?
Maybe he was there protecting you from some sort of an entity. Yeah, Lord Ashtar works hand in hand with Christ Michael, the overseer of our local universe. He also works hand in hand with Sana Komura, our star logos, who used to be the Venetian Lord. And then, of course, he works with Lord Melchizedek, and Metatron, of course, at the highest level. So they're all part of the core of the Guardians right now. But when our dormant wakes up, it's almost like we're going to be taking their position. But right now, they're here assisting us.
Yeah.
His real name is Sharon Anteres, and he came to us from a ascended or completed universe that reached completion even before the creation of our own universe. So you could say that he's, very, very advanced, and he's assisting us here in our solar system. He's the one that is coordinating the intergalactic councils with representatives of many galaxies who are all coming together in our solar system to create what is called an intergalactic federation or an intergalactic council of, galaxies. And he's at the head of that. And he works closely with the Ascended Masters, with, Joshua Sananda, Saint Germain, El Moria, Katumi, Mother Mary, and they're all just part of our celestial family, you could say.
Nice. Yeah. It was interesting. It was very hard, but it was a rescue. I think I was in trouble probably.
Oh yeah, you are, especially with the work that you do. It's a huge threat to the dark side. They don't want people activating their god powers.
And I've got a few of them, and I've got angel
yeah.
wings, and I've got abilities, and I'm instantly dissolving diseases. So,
Right.
but I teach it all, which is great fun. What do you think of the dinosaurs? Do you think that, I don't know, what do you think of the dinosaurs?
We're created by the reptilian race. And
Do you
they
think
were
there were, I
given.
don't know, there's a theory where I'm going with it is some people think that they were giants and then they pretended they were dinosaur bones were giants rather than actually dinosaurs. Jury's out. What do you think?
No, no, they're real. They were real. They did exist 65 million years ago, but they were created by the reptilians, and that became an abomination, one of the first abominations to the universes, after many abominations. But that was the first abominations, and they were done away with by the forces of light. So the impact, was the asteroid that caused their end was actually intelligently directed by the forces of light, by the Galactic Federation, so that they could reseed the Earth with human beings instead.
Was that the downfall of Atlantis or Lemuria at the same time when the asteroid came, or was that something different?
Now that was something different. Yeah, yeah. Lemuria didn't come around until about 2 million years ago. The dinosaurs were around 65 million years ago. So in
Right.
order to prepare the first great seeding here in our solar system, and in order to bring forth the human race here in our solar system, the forces of light needed to eliminate the dinosaurs, because the reptilians unfortunately planted the seed long ago. And that was their way of trying to be territorial with our planet, but it didn't work, you know.
So you said everything's done now, so we've got rid of the dark forces. So what's the next step? What's going to be happening in the future for everybody?
Well, as our dormant DNA becomes turned on uh, more so each and every day with new CMEs, with powerful X-class M flares CMEs coming in, and of course, as we anticipate the final solar flash, we're looking at nothing but just peace for 1,000 years. And at the end of that 1,000 years, we are going to have one last clash with the AI god Omega Saurian and the AI timeline that was currently created by the big tech companies that are currently existing. So we're going to have one final clash against the beast, which is artificial intelligence. But at that point, we're going to be so advanced, we're going to be using so much dormant power or dormant DNA that our abilities are going to be beyond God. We're going to have access to unlimited powers.
When do we think the solar flash is going to happen? You was predicting it kind of now, weren't you, a little while ago? Or what do you think on that now?
I think it's going to happen. It's best to just expect it any day now. But I did predict in my book that by no later than 2023, 2024. So it could happen any day.
Mm. Do you think it's all going to happen? Do you think that it's going to be incremental people's powers coming, or do you think suddenly the solar flash is going to happen and then everyone's just going to start flying or something?
Not everyone's going to have that ability. A group number of us will. Some of us are just going to be able to control the elements. Some of us are just going to be telepaths. Some of us are just going to be teleporters. But then there's going to be a smaller number of us who are going to have multiple powers. And then there's even going to be a smaller number of us who are going to be like the gods. Like they're going to be like the restored Olympians, gods and goddesses, overseeing all the superhumans and the metahumans. Keeping them in line and in check, who are going to have abilities where beyond flying, beyond teleportation, beyond emitting electricity through our hands and laser beams through our eyes. They're going to have powers that is going to allow them to pretty much bend reality with their mind if they wanted to. And that is the ultimate power, by the way.
See, the thing is, as Voltaire, I know, was originally, but then he went to Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. The problem with instant manifestation is it's very dangerous for people who have AI in their brains, or they have chatter, or they have anxiety. And I think anxiety is AI. But if you have any sort of negative thoughts in any way, and you're in the dark, and you're like, oh, I hope there's not a monster there, or I hope that spider doesn't do something, it's exceptionally dangerous. You've got to be very calm and know yourself and not going off down rabbit holes emotionally. Otherwise, that's exceptionally destructive. Look at people's diseases.
Yeah, you're right. So that's why we are in the training mode right now, where we are giving an opportunity to control our thoughts and our emotions, to the point where we are mindful of everything that we think. And if we don't like it, we change it immediately. And we shift our focus to things that are positive, to things that we want to see manifest. So right now we're still in the training ground before we graduate to gods and goddesses, which is going to happen very soon. So I hope everyone is taking this opportunity to really master their thoughts, because you could be one of those few who, through the power of your thoughts, you're going to bend reality at will. So that responsibility is only given to the ones that are the most powerful beings in the multiverse, the oldest of souls, the ones who could actually handle all that power and not abuse it, of course.
Do you think they'll get taken away if people do end up abusing these abilities? Do you think, or if they, I don't know.
Well, I believe that the oldest of souls, who are going to be at the cream of the crop of this upgrade, who are going to have all the abilities plus the ability to bend time, space, warp, reality at will, are going to have such a big heart that they're just going to make sure that those underneath them do not abuse their powers. So whoever they are, they're going to be the most powerful beings and the most beings full of compassion and love for all living things. And I think that they're going to be very responsible as far as like using their abilities, but at the same time, they're also going to be making sure that those meta-humans, which is what I call in my book, The Rise of Homo Galactus, meta-human, humans with power, supernatural powers, that all the wizards and all the superhumans or X-Men, whatever you want to call them, that are underneath them, use it wisely. So they're going to keep everyone in check.
Yeah. It'll be really interesting to see what happens in the future. Right, what else have I got? Or is there anything you want to talk about particularly?
Well, just to get off subject, it came to my attention that the culprit behind the vaccine, behind the program, the medicinal program that they've been administrating for the last 2 years, the Mark of the Beast, has been orchestrated by Enki. Enki has returned. He came back in 2020, and he represents the embodiment of the Antichrist, which is artificial intelligence. So he is behind big tech. He is behind the big gates, behind, Dr. Doom. They're just taking his orders. And this time he upgraded himself. He is now a cyborg. And he came by orders of the AI god to do various things, but he failed in most of them. However, he was successful in building a Draco Anunnaki drone soldier by harvesting some of our galactic genetics and then mixing it with advanced AI, with Draco, Zeta, and some other alien groups to create something, or their version of Human 3.0, which was intended to compete with God's version of Human 3.0, which is going to be us. So we don't have to deal with that issue till the end of the millennium. So that's another, that's going to be part of the final war against evil at the end of the 1,000 years of peace that I was talking about.
What do you think about all the people who have taken and how their health's going to be?
It all depends. If they only took the first and second booster, then they're going to be okay. But the reason that they're administrating the third, fourth, and now fifth is because they're upgrading the computing system in their bodies so that when the Internet of Things turns on and the 5G, they could all be linked to the board, which is already in place, aka Skynet, right? All these movies warned us about this. And those that took the third to the fifth booster are unfortunately going to lose their individuality, and their mind is going to be totally controlled by the Borg. So that's what's going to happen but at the nick of time, that's when the solar flash takes place. And for those that only took the first or second boosters because they woke in the nick of time and realized that, hey, wait a minute, I shouldn't take the third or the fourth. Fortunately for them, the solar flash is going to act as an EMP to nuke all the nano graphite, and then they're going to be able to ascend and not go into the negative AI timeline like those that took the third, fourth, and fifth booster.
Right. Interestingly, a friend of mine, she does Airbnbs in her house, and she's noticed yesterday, because she's always checking her phone and checking the Wi-Fi, and yesterday she had all these guests staying in her house, and there were all these funny numbers of Wi-Fi numbers, and she was wondering if it's people having the jab because, they're radiating something, or they've now connecting to Wi-Fi in some capacity.
Oh yeah, it's happening, especially those that have the third and fourth boosters. The reason that they kept coming up with new boosters is because they're upgrading the, microscopic computer device that they installed in people's bodies. That's what all they're doing is they're upgrading the software. So it makes perfect sense.
Strange. I know you've got to go in a second. Right, let me just see there.
I still have about five minutes. 5 minutes, maybe 10.
Okay, hang on a second. Are we? So what does it say? Did it take a wave of star seeds or other beings from other higher realms to incarnate in order to be able to manifest healing abilities? Do you think we've always had these healing abilities and it's just at the time now, or do you think many people have had them over time, or what's going on with all of that?
Well, we still do, because remember, the future and the past and different timelines are still coexisting with this one. From a higher dimensional perspective, we're still high priestesses and goddesses and gods in Atlantis. We still have these powers. So it's just a matter of anchoring those aspects of ourselves so that we could have full memory of these abilities. So yes, we've always been healers. We've always had these abilities. In fact, the reason why they're putting out so many movies and TV series regarding superheroes and superhumans in the last 20 years is because they're prepping us for what's coming. So it's just a matter of remembering. So yeah, these powers we've already had, especially the star seeds.
And you think there's 144,000 star seeds at the moment on the mission? Is that your thinking? Welcome back.
Yeah, sorry about that. I guess talking about AI totally threw off my Wi-Fi signal.
Right. So, yeah. So, what do we think? What else would you like to talk about, sweetie? What else do we talk about?
We could just let everyone know that we have nothing to worry about, that our dormant DNA is about to come online. And as you asked me, is it going to happen all simultaneously, all at the same time, or instantaneously? No, it's happening in increments. However, when the final release of the sun takes place, it's all going to happen like within a blink of an eye. We're going to go from being Homo sapiens sapiens to Homo superior or Homo galactics.
Do you not think it's going to hurt? Because I've been doing this, and I've spent a lot of the last 20 years in a trance state, awakening my dormant DNA and energy system to be able to be where I am now, and it's been a lot of pain. It's been very physically painful in my body to be able to do it as things are actually shifting and changing. It's like super DOMs. My ex was a Muay Thai fighter, and their training is like what a soccer player does, the whole training session, and then they start hitting each other. And just being around me, his DOMs was worse than doing heavy duty Muay Thai, Thai boxing training. So it's been really. I don't know that it can happen instantaneously. I don't know that our bodies will be able to maintain it. I mean, I can now, because I've sort of led the charge and I've got students, but they still get some of the pain. But me being slightly ahead of the curve, it does bloody hurt. I'm not sure people are going to be able to get the superpowers instantaneously. I don't know if their bodies will maintain it, or do you think we've progressed enough to make that okay now?
I think some of us will be able to, you know, yeah, it's going to be like I said, not everyone's going to have the exact powers. Everyone's going to be on different levels of superpowers, but I think those that are meant to be extremely powerful are going to be ready. They're going to be ready. But again, it's happening in increments already, you know, so it's already leading to that. And
Yeah.
yes, there might be some bodily aches as our, you know, bodies shift from a carbon base to crystalline, but that's just part of the prophecies, and that's just part of the unfolding. And I think that once we're fully in our new state with our new modified bodies, the pain is just going to be part of yesterday's news. We're no longer going to feel pain anymore because our bodies are going to just be indestructible.
Yeah. It's just tired and aching. So you've got some courses and things. Do you want to tell my audience about what your products are beyond your book?
Well, for those that haven't had the opportunity to order my book, it is taking the world by storm. It is activating many celestial star seeds worldwide. That book is just, they say it's like they're saying it's an activating book. The moment each chapter has a trigger that will actually remind you of your, you know, who you are and your purpose here on the earth. So it is a book like no other, restoring cosmic information back to the earth in preparation for the ascension. And I also teach starseed cosmology courses, which I go in depth regarding the history of the galaxy, the cosmos. It's like my entire 22 years of research crammed up in 6 hours. 6 hours, 2 hours a day for 3 weeks, once a week. So, and you get to interact with me in real time and ask me any questions you want. And I also teach you my meditative techniques that are going to help you align and connect with your higher self so that you can begin accessing your own Akashic records. So that's part of the treat that I give at the end of the course, is that bonus. I teach you 2 powerful methods that will totally enhance your abilities. And what else? Oh yeah, I'm going to be doing a second edition for Our Cosmic Origin with a new chapter added that is going to segue into the next book. So that should be ready to go in about a month.
And how many copies have you sold of this? Because it's blooming everywhere. How many you sold?
I have no clue. I don't keep count, but I know that it's just once people read it, they refer it to everybody they know because it is like the next level disclosure. It's not just talking about aliens. I mean, it's talking about the suppressed history of our galaxy. That's information that has not been on the Earth for thousands of years, since the days of Atlantis. So
And how do people sign up to your courses?
they could go to a website called themysticarts.org, or I could just give you the links. And if you want to put them on the description. And I teach the Starseed Cosmology course in that website, themysticarts.org. Also, it is in my link on my Instagram, which I'm very active in. My Instagram is Project Restoration Zion with the number 1. It's only 1. Just make sure you put it all together, Project Restoration Zion 1. And the link is also there. And my book, you could order it through Amazon.
Fantastic. Okay, so yeah, you can send me the links and then we can put them so people want to do courses. When's the next time you're teaching your courses?
I'm booked all the way to the end of the year. So about 2 weeks ago, we just opened up the January class, and that is already filling up. So if you guys want to jump on it right away, secure your spot for January. Otherwise, you guys are going to have to wait till February.
How many people do you have in the course?
I only take about 100 people at a time.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to make it personable. We want to make sure that everyone gets their questions answered. So I do about an hour and 15 minutes of content deliverance, information, knowledge, and then the other 50 minutes, 45, 50 minutes, it's open up for questions and answers, and anyone could ask me, and we're interacting. We're actually talking to each other the way me and you are right now. So it is beautiful.
Fantastic. Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, Ishmael. I've really enjoyed our interview and yeah, look forward to speaking to you more in the future. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Antonia.
I turned the recording.